you'd see a really cool pattern, and I found this really amazing when I first saw it. So I forgot to write something here, which is oxygen. Yeah, okay, so the rest is fine. If you see, the photosynthesis is like the reverse of respiration. And how I like to think of it is like, look, sugar, in our case, it's sugar, and plants have glucose. We take in oxygen, they release oxygen, and carbon dioxide is our waste product, but it is the input for the photosynthesis reaction. Water is something that plants need for photosynthesis, and but it's our waste product. And ATP, this is in our form. The plants take it in as solar energy. We also use enzymes for this reaction. They use the enzyme chlorophyll. So this is like a neat cycle, you could say, and it's like really neat cycle. So our waste products are like the plant's food, and the plant's waste products are our food. Then the number 6 characteristic of life is excretion. So excretion is basically the removal of waste products from an organism, and this can include urea and carbon dioxide. And if they accumulate, they can actually be poisonous to us. Like, we could actually die. So to remove them, we have special systems. Like, for example, carbon dioxide is excreted by breathing out, and urea is excreted in the urine. Number 7, uh, characteristic of living things is nutrition, which is the taking in of energy for growth and plants. Uh, in the case of plants, they require light, water, carbon dioxide, and ions. But for animals need organic compounds, ions also, and they usually need water and sugar and oxygen to live. Um, so these are the seven characteristics for an organism to be a living thing. Then I want to. So once we know that if an organism is living or non-living, we can move on to classifying the organisms uh, into other further divided groups. So when early scientists decide to classify animals, first they obviously searched into the main look of the animal, like the arms and legs, the body structure. Um, and which in the hi-fi scientific language is called morphology. And then, of course, they dug a little deeper, looking into the anatomy, and they dissected the organism to get to know what is actually inside the body, how the organs are placed in relation to each other. And then with scientific discoveries and gadgets, they use the electron microscopes to study the DNA. So to have an overview of what DNA is, I made a really simple diagram. So like in simple language, it is genetic code. It's a genetic code. And like I said before, it is like, it is the commandments for your body to function properly. And there's a sequence in which this DNA is put and made. So I used color code. Okay, so the green is adenine, purple is thymine, the brown is cytosine, and blue is guanine. And you don't really have to learn the names. It would help if you do know them. But there's, even though they can be sequenced in any way they want, anyway, they can be sequenced in any way. That's what makes us different from each other. But there is a set rule. Adenine and thymine will always be paired up. So yeah, so the green and the purple are always together, and cytosine and guanine will always be paired up, no matter which the case, okay? And when they're not paired up like that, but if they like mix up the pairing, that's when you get cancerous cells. Those are cells that can't function properly. So scientists see this sequence and start classifying the animals. The more similar the sequence is, the closer the species are. And there are like degrees of separation of organisms. Like even in school, you have the primary, and then it's middle school, then there's high school, and then further on there are divisions for grades, 8, 9, 10, and then there are sections. So just like that, the animals also have separation. So there is kingdom, phylum, class, uh, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. And okay, so family, genus, and species. So for humans, the kingdom is animal, phylum is chordates, uh, class is mammals, order is primates, family is hominids, and genus is Homo, species is Homo sapiens. So I'm going to tell you the meaning of the Homo sapiens in just a second, but first I want you to familiarize with something. So first of all, in a scientific name, so this is the name that has been given to us by the scientists. We are called Homo sapiens. Homo is the genus, and sapiens is the species we belong to. Even though in like normal life we always write the first name first and the last name last, over here things are a bit different. Homo is written first, sapiens is written later, even though species is a more specified degree of division. Genus is not, but we still name it as Homo sapiens. The first letter is always capital, and the second letter is always in like the shorter, smaller case. And then also always the name, whenever you read it in a text or in a question, is going to be italicized, underlined, or bold. So it's going to stand out in some way. So our genus is Homo and species is Sapiens. So a way to remember this, that genus comes first and species comes later, we have to remember our scientific name. So Homo sapiens. And what I like to do is that sapiens starts with an S, and so does species. So I just remember it this way. The latter word is the species, and the first word is the genus. So like if someone asks me to label the genus and species here, I can easily say, I can easily remember Homo sapiens, and I remember the last word was the species, so I just write species, and the first word is gonna, the other one obviously is gonna be the genus. And yes, the normal layman term is wolf for this. So species is more like specific, canis is more like general. Okay. Like, and now I'll just elaborate on this a bit. Just give me a second. Okay. So the there are like 5 kingdoms. Okay. Animal, a plant, fungi, and there are many more, Protoctista and others. But like we're not going to go in that. But this is like the general. So if 2 organisms have the same kingdom, we'll say they're distantly related. They're not really closely related. Like we are all humans, but we're not all relatives. Okay, so then phylum is much closer, like you're getting closer uh, to each other, and then class is even closer. So uh, all the animals are animals, but then some of them have vertebrates and some don't. And then some of them are mammals, others are birds, others are fishes, and so you can see that we're getting specific. So over here we're talking about humans. So first we said humans were just animals. Then we talked about them having backbones. Then we said that they are mammals. And then we said they're primates, which means they're like they feed on plants and meat. I'm not really sure. I'm going to like check that. I forgot. I didn't look into that. But Homo sapiens means, yeah, omnivores, I guess. Homo sapiens means an organism with a high forehead and thin face bones. So that's why we are all Homo sapiens. So then coming back to the class, we are all mammals, then primates, then our family is hominids, genus is Homo. Okay, so over in mammals we could still include monkeys and stuff, right? In animals we could include everybody else. In chordates we could include the people with the organisms with backbones. In mammals we could include monkeys and other organisms. In primates, now we're getting more focused to what we're really talking about. And then hominids, homo, and finally we know exactly what we're talking about, Homo sapiens, which is us, which is humans. Okay. So uh, now I just want to ask you guys if you have any questions. If you guys have any confusions, then we'll move on to the questions I have for you guys. So whoever raises his hand, I'm just gonna unmute that person. Okay. Um, Let me check the chat box. Okay. What is ATP? ATP is the form of energy, the form of energy that we can use. Okay. We release this by cellular respiration, and this is the form of energy our muscles can use. Like you cannot take in everything. You can't take in energy in any form. So ATP is the form in which we use energy. No, between Homo sapiens, we need to put space. What is a genus? Genus is um, a really specific way of classifying an organism. So this is like the second, the most specific is species. So genus is actually like a level in which we categorize organisms. Yeah, and another way to remember that genus comes before species is that alphabetically G comes before S. So thank you, Amna. The heat for burning glucose in respiration. So you're talking about this on this side? Yeah, sweat is a waste yeah, that's also excretion, and sweat also has urea. Okay, yeah. So the energy on this side, I think it's the body temperature. I'm not really sure, but I'll see. Um, okay, so the definition of metabolism. Okay, I'll put that back on. Okay, so if anyone has any more questions, they can raise their hand, and then I'm gonna just move on to the questions I have for you guys. No one has a question? Okay. So, explain DNA. So, DNA is the genetic code for an organism to like grow and develop, and it also has the stored information for reproduction, and it's the basically the information that makes us. Like, do you get it? Or is metabolism is not the same as digestion. Digestion is just the process of breaking down the food. Metabolism is actually burning it down and then getting the energy. The full form of DNA is ribonucleic acid. Okay. Okay, so then I'll move on to the question I have for you.
Okay. Okay, just that question, that is digestion, metabolism. Well, you can consider digestion as a part of metabolism, because if you remember, metabolism is a collective name for catabolism and anabolism. Remember, catabolism is breaking down big molecules into smaller. Anabolism is when small molecules combine together, right? So digestion is like sort of catabolism, because we are breaking big molecules into smaller ones. So it can be considered a part of metabolism. So metabolism is a combination of both catabolism as well as anabolism.
Yeah, and the full form of DNA was deoxyribonucleic acid.
Okay. And another thing, did you mention why DNA is called a genetic code, like CODE code? What's a code? What's CODE? I mean, simple English language. What do you think?
It's like it's a specific how can I say this? It's a specific way in which it's written, like decode.
Yes, it's like, it can be a sequence of numbers, it can be a sequence of letters that represent something, right?
Yeah.
So in DNA, again, we have a sequence of what? Sequence of?
Proteins. I mean, amino acids.
Yes, amino acids. So did you talk about that?
No.
Yeah. So elaborate on that a little more. What do you mean by genetic code? So talk about those bases. And DNA is made up of what? What class of molecules? Is it a protein? Is it a carbohydrate?
Yeah,
a fat?
It was a protein. I said that.
It's not a protein.
Wait, what?
DNA stands for?
Oh yeah, deoxyribonucleic acid.
Nucleic acid. Deoxyribonucleic acid. So it's a nucleic acid. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a protein, it's not a carbohydrate, it's not a fat, but it is a nucleic acid. And it would be great if your whole page is visible in one screen.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we can see the names of the four bases. Okay, we won't go into the details, the molecular details of DNA right now.
But wait, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So like you're saying that there are four bases, and then you're saying it's a nucleic acid. So then how does that work?
Yeah, okay, that's a very good question. Now these are parts of the nucleic acids. Okay, so basic part of the acid. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna go into the details of nucleic acid, but these adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine, these are the four, you can say, parts of the nucleic acids in which nucleic acids differ from each other. Okay, like for example, one nucleic acid would have guanine as a part of its molecule. Another nucleic acid would have cytosine as its part, right? So the
Yeah.
rest of the molecules are identical. They are the same. They only differ in these bases, and they are called bases. The base part is the part which differs. Okay. And so, did you share some mnemonic with them? How to remember all the way from genus all the way to the kingdom? You know, the classification tree that we have. Was there any mnemonic?
So this we're gonna do this in more detail in the next class because it's discussed on page 6 and 7, and I'm doing it till page 5.
Oh, okay, okay. That's fine. And also do mention how they pair up. How they pair up. Adenine pairs with thymine, cytosine pairs with guanine, right? So we
Yeah.
remember it like
Yeah.
at.
So I mentioned that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So should I move on to the questions, or do I have to elaborate on anything? Okay. So I'm moving on to the questions. Uh, I'll show you the book form, and if you guys can't read, then I'll show you where I have written it in a clearer version. So let me just take it out. So can you guys see it clearly, or should I increase the font size? Okay. So I wrote this myself. If you guys can read this. Can you guys read this? It's really big. Okay. Okay. So that I didn't get time to copy the table down. So if you guys have the book or the PDF I shared on the group, you can open that. The table shows how two organisms are. Um, uh, okay. Okay, so this is, I think I messed up the question, but like you guys can use the book or the PDF. So I'm going to read it from the book. The table shows how two organisms, a monarch, butterfly, and a giant pangolin are classified. Use the information in the table to suggest whether these two organisms are not related at all, distantly related, or closely related. Explain how you made your decision. Whoever wants to answer this can raise his hand, and I'm gonna unmute that person. Okay. Uh, um, Asif, I'm unmuting you.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, the two organisms are not related because even though they have the same kingdom, their phylum is different because the monarch butterfly's phylum is arthropod and the giant pangolin is a vertebrate.
So you're saying they're not related at all?
They are related due to the kingdom, but their species are different.
So what would you say? Not related at all or distantly related?
Distantly related.
Yeah, that's I said that even. If the kingdom is the same, but the rest is different, they are distantly related. But if the kingdoms are different, then they're not related at all. Okay.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay.
Then the B part, write down the genus of the giant pangolin. So this is the picture in the book. These are the two pictures. I hope you guys can see the pictures. So write down the genus of the giant pangolin. Okay, let me unmute. Usman, I've unmuted you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
It will be Manus.
It would be?
Manus.
Where did you get that from?
I have the book.
Oh, they're talking. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just give me a second. They're talking about the giant pangolin.
Yeah.
So look at the picture below. It has a label on it.
Yeah, pangolin. It is Manus because it's vertebrates, animal and mammals, and Manus. It should be Manus.
Yeah. So okay. Yes, the genus would be Manus. Now, okay, you can mute yourself. Okay. Now the C part, I actually did that for you, and I even showed it. I have written it down. So use the internet or a textbook to find out how a human is classified. So I want someone to, so you guys can raise your hand, and I'll unmute you. So you only have to tell one thing, okay? The kingdom, and then the other person will tell the phylum, and so one person is gonna tell one thing, one classification. So Atika, I'm unmuting you.
Yes, sir. Should I tell the kingdom is animal?
Okay, good job. Ayan, you wanna try the phylum?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
The kingdom is animal. And the class is mammal.
No, phylum.
Wait, give me a second.
Yeah, sure. Take your time. What are you doing?
Yeah, if it's taking too long, then give some other a chance.
Okay, Ahmed Azam. No, okay, he lowered his hand. King Khizar, I'm unmuting you. Okay, so the phylum for humans. Yeah.
Vertebrates.
Yeah, and the scientific name would be chordates, which means the same thing. Okay, good job. You can mute yourself. Momina, I'm unmuting you. Do you want to do the class?
Mammals.
Yeah, good job. So the class is mammals, and order. Asif, you want to do the order?
Yes. The order is primates.
Yes, good job. The family. I want someone new to raise their hand. Ahmed Azam.
Yes.
Do you want to do the family?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Hominidae.
You mean to say
It's
hominids?
hominid. Yes.
Okay, so that's correct. You can mute yourself. So the family is hominids, and the genus is. Amna, you want to do the genus?
Yeah, it's Homeo.
Yes, it's Homo. And species is the easiest one, and we all know that it's Homo sapiens. So you guys can all lower your hands. So these were the book questions. I'm going to check the chat box for any questions. Anyone has any confusion? So if the DNA get mixed up, I told you if they don't pair up correctly. So like if I'm gonna bring the diagram back to you. If they don't pair up, like in adenine and thymine and cytosine and guanine, if they don't do that, the cell is cancerous. But otherwise, if the sequence, like the sequence is how they are sequenced, how they're put together, not paired, if that is different, then it's fine. That's actually what makes us different from each other, because we're all humans, but we do look different. Our personalities are different, and that's because the sequence of our DNA is different. So the kingdom animal is for humans, yeah, because we have a lot in common with them. So can DNA be? DNA can be similar, not exactly the same. So siblings have similar DNA because they have the same parents, but they're not photocopies of each other. So they can't be exactly the same, but they can be similar. Momina, you're raising your hand. Do you have a question? Okay.
Basically, I just wanted to add one point. The thing is that, DNA, there are different levels of similarities between DNA. So organisms which belong to the same species have a lot of similarities in their DNAs. So the more the similarity, meaning the organisms are closely related, okay? The more distant the organisms get from each other in terms of relationship, the more the differences in DNA. Are you getting my point? So
Yeah.
DNAs cannot be completely different. They cannot be completely identical. So there's always some level of difference. Okay, so the more the difference, the more distant related the two organisms are. The more similar they are, the more closely related they are. But remember, no two DNAs in any two organisms are identical. Even identical twins have their fingerprints different, right?
Yeah.
The reason why their fingerprints are different is, again, due to those minor differences in their DNA. Okay, and also adenine pairs up with thymine and cytosine pairs up with guanine to keep the distance between the two strands constant. Can you see the two strands that Sundus has made? Yes. So the distance between them is constant. If you look at its 3D structure, I wish you could show them the 3D of DNA. Then you could see.
I can actually.
Yeah, so you can see that the distance between the two strands is constant, and the reason why the distance is constant is because of this pairing. Because adenine always pairs up with thymine, and cytosine always pairs up with guanine. Okay, again, we won't go into the details, but yeah, this much is enough.
Okay, so if you want to see the 3D structure of DNA, I'll show you. So just a second, let me share my screen. So I hope you guys can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Okay. So okay, that's fine. So this is what DNA looks like. So adenine, this is the adenine, and this is the sugar phosphate backbone, which means like, so basically a backbone keeps everything in place, right? So this also keeps everything in place. The base pairs together, thymine, guanine, cytosine, and this is how it's curled up. It has a beautiful shape. So yeah, that's how DNA looks like in
Yeah,
the
this is called a double helix. This is called a double helix. This is called a helical structure.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, like a staircase. So let me just ask a few questions. Can anyone like recap on what? Okay, so I want 7 volunteers, and I want each of them to recap on one of the characteristics of living things. So Momina, you want to go first? You can do any. I'm trying to unmute you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So all living things move. They move.
Wait, Momina, can you be a bit louder? Because I can't really hear you clearly.
All living things move. Movement is one of the characteristics. They move to fulfill the requirements. Like you told that sunflowers, they move towards the direction of the sun. And
Yes,
we move around to either get food or do our daily jobs. So all living things move. That's one of the characteristics.
very good job, Momina. You gave such a good recap. Okay, Rayan Zahid, do you want to go second? Okay, he lowered his hand. Zainab Wasim.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sensitivity is another characteristic. Sensitivity is the ability to when organisms they can detect a stimuli in their internal or external environment, and they will react to it accordingly.
Good job. Okay. Let me see who wants to go. Atika, you wanna go next?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Growth. All organisms they get larger, like when they're born or at the beginning of their life they're small, and when they get larger by the growth of their cells, and the cells form new cells in their bodies. It can also be called as a permanent increase in size and dry mass by an increase in cell number or cell size both. It is also called as development.
Yes, good job.
No, I can't.
Okay. Now, Ayan.
I'm gonna be saying excretion. So excretion is removal of toxins from the body which can harm or kill us. Excretion happens when your metabolism reacts to the cells and removes the unwanted and toxic waste as the result of the metabolic reactions.
Yeah, good job. That's perfect. You can mute yourself now. Now, who wants to do the remaining? Zain Musawwar.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So we also studied about metabolism it is mainly the chemical reactions in the body cell that change food into energy.
So you mean respiration, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Can you elaborate a bit? Can you like give me the word equation for respiration? Oh, okay. Someone else can do that. How about Ahmed? Alam. Ahmed. I'm trying to unmute you. Okay, so Azif, Momina.
Yes.
Yeah, so can you give me the word equation for respiration?
C6H12.
No, the word equation. If you know the chemical equation, that's really good. Okay, fine. Just you can give me the
Okay, I
chemical
can
equation.
give the word equation. Glucose plus oxygen equals to carbon dioxide, water, and ATP.
Good job. Just remember that in an equation, there's always an arrow, not equal to. So, but that's correct. But that's because you were speaking. But I'm just telling you so that you know. Okay, you can mute yourself now. So can anyone can anyone give me that explain that give me that 1 point which I added to the list? Atika?
Yes, you told us that all organisms, every organism is made up of cells.
And some of the main structures of cells are?
Some of the main structures of the cell are DNA.
It's okay. It's okay if you're like wrong or you miss something. I just want like a brief
DNA, ribosomes, cytoplasms, and cell membrane.
Yeah. So by DNA you mean the nucleus, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is always a good idea to start from the outside and get inside. So that way you will follow a sequence. You won't miss anything. So cell membrane, cytoplasm, and then in the cytoplasm, ribosomes, and then nucleus. Right. Okay,
Yeah.
and another thing, Sundus, are you doing the end of chapter questions?
We're done with the end of chapter questions.
Oh, okay. So, it would have been better if you had kept the questions, under the camera so that, we know what you're doing.
So like these questions.
But it's okay. It's fine.
No, wait. These questions I'm making like myself, and the ones that I did do were these ones. So we're done with that.
Oh, okay. And what about the end of chapter questions? Question number 1, 2, and 3 are related to what you're discussing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The end of chapter questions 1, 2, and 3 are related to what you guys are doing.
Oh, but I didn't send a PDF of this in the group.
That's fine. That's okay. Those are not very difficult questions. They're easy.
Okay. So let me just keep that on the camera.
Yes. Yeah, a bit up. Yeah, move the book a little up because we cannot see the bottom page.
So this is the
The
question.
bottom of the page. No. We cannot see the B part. B part of the question.
No. So like, this is the B part. That's it. It finishes here.
Okay. Read the question.
Okay. So without looking back at the beginning of this chapter, decide which 5 of these characteristics are found in all living things. So I'm gonna say this orally, and you just tell me if, because the answer is written. So I'm just gonna say the word, and you tell me if it's a characteristic which is found in living things. So you can use the chat box. Movement. Is movement a characteristic? Yes. Blood system. Yes. No. It's not a characteristic because amoeba and other single cellular organisms, which are still living things, don't have a blood system, and even plants don't. Sight. Yes. Not everyone has an eye. Single cellular organisms definitely don't have eyes. Growth. Yes, growth is a characteristic of living things. Photosynthesis. No, only plants do that. And I told you they're autotrophs, and herbivores are heterotrophs. Nutrition. Yes, nutrition is a characteristic of living things. Sensitivity. Yes. Speech. No, yeah, no one can. Not everyone talks. Excretion. Yes, it is a characteristic of living things. Uh, okay, so this is the next question. Okay, 3 species of tree have the following binomials. I'm gonna read it because I'm not sure if it's really clear. Uh, Carpodiptera africana, Commiphora africana, Commiphora angolensis. Let me write this in the chat box. Okay, all 3 of them, and then you guys can see. So just give me a second. They're kind of long names. Uh, So 3 species of tree have the following binomials. So which one are the most closely related? So I will unmute someone, and that person can then answer. Zainab, Ayan, okay, Ahmed Azam, do you want to go?
Yes.
Okay,
The
go ahead.
Commiphora africana and Commiphora angulolensis, because the genus is same.
Okay, I'm so sorry, I was muted. So yeah, that's right. And uh, um, I know that these two have the same species, and so that's kind of confusing. But we're gonna look at the genus because that's more general, and like an organism with different genus cannot have the same species. So that's the difference. Okay, so I think that's it. We just have 1 minute and until the end of this class. So does anyone have a question? Let me check the chat box. You can raise your hand. Momina, do you have something to say? Lower your hand if you don't have any question. Momina, do you have a question?
I don't have a question, but in the start, like you to ask for a way to remember the stages of classification.
Yeah.
So for that, I know an acronym.
So yeah, you can you share it with us?
It is kindly place cover on the fresh vegetables. If you take the first letters, it would mean the order of the stages of classification.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So thank you so much. So kindly place a cover.
Not a cover.
Okay. Cover.
Only cover on the fresh vegetables.
On the fresh. So this is for kingdom, phylum, class, order.
Oh no, sorry. On the fresh green vegetables.
Okay.
Is not included.
Okay. So kingdom, phylum, class, order, family.
Green vegetables. You missed green.
So genus and species. Wait. So species for this?
Just 1
Vegetable?
minute. Species. Oh. On the fresh green spinach.
Yeah, so,
change to spinach.
So we can even take the last S of this vegetables. So yeah, it's the same thing. So that's a really good mnemonic. If you can mute yourself. Atika, do you have a question? Atika, I've unmuted you. Okay, Usman, do you have a question? Okay, so if you have a question, you can just...
And Sundus, did you talk about that mnemonic, MRS.GREN, for the characteristics for living things?
So like, yeah, I wrote it down in the same sequence. So you can see this is MRS.GREN. Movement, reproduction, sensitivity, growth, respiration, excretion, and nutrition.
Okay, good.
Okay. So I think the time is up and we're 2 minutes over. Zainab says she has a mnemonic, but I think yeah, Momina gave us the mnemonic. So I hope to see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. If there's another mnemonic, maybe somebody might find it helpful. So yeah, please do go ahead and share.
Okay, so Zainab, I'm unmuting you.
Yeah, the mnemonic is do keep ponds clean or frogs get sick.
Say that again.
Do keep ponds clean or frogs get sick.
Can you say it?
Do keep ponds clean. Ponds.
Pants?
Can you spell it?
Ponds.
Oh, ponds clean.
DS. So it's DS. Ponds.
Oh, okay. I thought ponds. Okay, go ahead.
Or frogs get sick.
Yeah, and also it would be better if you write vertically so that So, okay, now tell me what each first letter stands for.
The D for do is domain, K is for kingdom, P for phylum, E for class, O for order, F for frogs, G for genus, and S for species.
Yes. That's really nice. So both of them are really easy to learn. So I think that's it. And tomorrow there will be a physics class, inshallah. And I hope to see you guys all. Allah Hafiz.
And